They're not the guys that go into to plant a bomb or drive a car or a truck over people.
They are not the style of people.
Exactly.
Right.
I remember you telling me this story. I remember when I met a guy in France, about 8 years ago, and we were talking about the terrorist activities after 9/11. And one thing that he mentioned me was that, why do you think you don't hear about IRA anymore? The Ireland resistance, revolutionary, exactly. Why do you think you don't hear about IRA anymore? Because, all the Irish in Boston, they're not grabbing money on the streets anymore to send to Ireland, because it got out of fashion. It's not fashionable anymore to get revolutionary money and send it to Ireland. And I mean, that was just gossip, and it's nothing serious. But when you talk about that, yeah, you're probably going to have families from all around the planet financing this kind of activities, especially revolutionary activities.
Yeah. Well, and they've got relatives back in the Middle East too.
Mm-hmm.
This one family that I was dealing with in Panama, just one of them was the Wakets. Waked, Waked, and they were respected businessmen and had major duty-free stores scattered throughout Central America, and I mean the amount of money moving through there was most Westerners, people in the United States anyway, didn't comprehend what was going on. It was a fantastical sum. I remember. We were retained by the Drug Enforcement Administration to do an audit of one businessman in the Cologne Free Trade Zone. He's dead now. Business was called El Full, and he's Jewish. And what had happened was he had sent out a shipment of he was selling counterfeit baby clothes. Okay. Not the real. He'd look at what were all the styles, that all the upscale stuff, and then he'd contract with people in China and Vietnam, and they'd make the knockoff stuff, and he was selling it at like 50% of the cost of the real stuff, but it looked real. So this way, people could get designer baby clothes, but at a reasonable price. So he put a bunch of those baby clothes in a container, and it was shipped, let's say, to someplace in the Caribbean, to Curacao. Well, the shipment went with some from other merchants, and when they got there, they found heroin or cocaine inside, and so he was on the verge of losing his visa to the United States. And this guy I called him a watermelon with feet, una sandía con patas. He was a big fat, little fat guy, short, looked like one of those Oompa Loompas out of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So he had a heart doctor, a cardiologist up in New York City. And oh my God, the thought of losing his visa so he couldn't see his cardiologist was like to kill him. So he went to DEA. He said, "What can I do? What can I do?" And he said, "Let us audit your business." And he said, and he was so desperate, he said, "Okay." So I went in with another retired DEA guy, and we conducted an actual audit. We got to see the real books. He kept two sets of books: the real books, and the knockoff books. Now, this was one guy with two sons. Okay, and we called one of the sons Fredo, after the Godfather. Fredo, the one who wasn't too smart.
Sure.
That was this kid, not too bright, did some really dumb stuff. So they're selling knockoff baby clothing. It's not a big business. So in 1 year, we were able to track their actual gross revenues. So now I'm talking 20 years ago now. What do you think their annual revenue was? Take a guess.
Couple of million.
$80 million.
80.
80.
In the 80s.
And then this was back in like 2000.
2000.
Still a lot of money, yes.
Yeah, so that one little business. So now multiply that when you got somebody that's selling Samsung televisions, Nike shoes, Adidas shoes, rice cookers, baby stroll, everything you can imagine. All of a sudden, you're looking at, I guarantee you, many of these businesses are doing close to $500 million. And a lot of times the money that's coming in to buy these products is drug money.
Yeah.
So the drug traffickers they'll go buy the actual goods, import them, sell them, and then they explain that that's where their money came from. That they earned their money by selling this stuff.